It's time to present Scott DuPont to bring you another episode of Finance Your Movie with tips and strategies to help you get your money to tell your story. It's time!
Okay, we are back, season 6. This is the first time. I promise you some really exciting guests on the show, and we definitely have this guy you're going to want to hear for sure. Welcome to the show, Jeff Vanderpol, president and founder of Stardom Films.
Thank you, Scott. Great pleasure to be here, buddy. Great way to kick off an almost new year.
Yeah. So for those of you who may or may not have caught Jeff on, I think it was maybe season 3 or season 4. It was a while ago. Jeff was just starting out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the last 18 months, you fully financed 3 motion pictures.
Yes, you are correct. Actually, I think we can basically say with a great degree of confidence 4 and almost 5. But yes, in totality, 3, 100%, and 4 is super close. We can do the 4th with our own money. We're letting in some investors. We'll get into that. And the 5th one very close as well.
Okay, so this is going to be really exciting for everyone listening to this, especially if you've not produced a film, you've not raised money for a film, because that was Jeff maybe 2.5 years ago. Once he got a solid business plan and a team, raised about $1 million or so for one night in Bath. Congratulations. The film, I've seen some footage of the film, looks brilliant. Hopefully we'll see a rough cut soon.
Yeah, thank you. I was working with the producer this morning on music we're inserting into various scenes and post-production on it right now.
So let's just jump right in. How does a guy with no movie background, obviously you're passionate about movies, you had this goal that you wanted to create this Stardom brand, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But your first film, you have this killer business plan, you have a team. How important is it not to just kind of hide behind the keyboard and send out business plans and text people about getting people on the phone? Because isn't that kind of your key to success, is just spending all day long on the phone?
Yeah, I would say that, and relationships, right? Your inner circle Rolodex power is absolutely critical. You're a big preacher of that, and you're so right, Scott, because you go around that circle of trust and influence you have in the immediate right there. And there are people in there who believe in you. You got to go to them, hat in hand, explain, put a great plan together, put a team together. It takes a village. We have exceptional people, and most of our people have nothing to do with the entertainment industry. I think that's a plus. They're great business people. They've got excellent acumen. We tap their strengths in the areas they're good at. And it's been a wild and fast and furious ride. We're in post-production on our England movie right now, about to start production on a faith-based movie. And then we'll get into the trilogy and everything we're doing with that.
So I want to back up a little bit. I want to make sure that audience watching on Millionaire Flicks, or if you're listening on any of the other podcast platforms we're on, it's not easy. And you use that term hat in hand. I remember, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, because this is how our audience learns.
Yeah.
I said, Jeff, you got to talk to some of these people that you hung out in Aspen with. You gotta like go to these people that you've known for years. And this was maybe 2 years ago. And you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to go to them yet. And they only look at really, really big deals. They're not going to look at this, independent film. What was it psychologically that kind of shifted where you said, screw it, man, I'm proud of this business package, this business plan. I'm going to start calling my old dear friends up. Like, you have no fear, because if they don't invest, they don't invest.
I think part of it came with the team and the pedigree of the team. We ended up partnering with someone who's done 46 movies, who loved my vision, my energy, my passion, That's what sold him on coming in this deal. It's why our first movie is in England in the first place. I mean, you and I talked about this. How many independent filmmakers have their first movie in England? You don't hear
Yeah,
that,
not
right?
yeah, not many.
It's Atlanta, it's Louisiana, but it's not England. Why? It doesn't make sense.
So that
It
was
makes
Jonathan
sense.
Willis you're talking about.
Jonathan Willis, Posterity Films. And I think once the passion and the enthusiasm got married to credibility and pedigree, then you had your inner circle friends of Jeff go, this just got real. This isn't just Jeff's, wide-eyed dreamscape. This is something that's going to be executed. And they saw the seriousness was obvious. And one came, then two, then four. And before you know it, we had what we thought was a $500,000 budget. And then not because we went over budget at all and you and I know this, we've been talking all through the budget, but because we wanted to make a bigger and better film each and every time we got into the next element to even getting our celebrity component that we got, it has now ballooned to a cost of about $1 million, including post.
Yeah, and it looks well over that. I mean, it really shows, and that whole, I mean, just the landscape, the factory scenes, the background extras, the talent. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Staying on this for just a second, because I've been on some of these three-way calls. So you have this killer business plan, you have this team. Let's talk a little bit about how important you think it is. Because obviously, Jeff Vanderpol, you really have no resume. You're not a producer of 5, 10, 20 movies.
Not yet, about to be.
Yeah, very soon. You haven't been in Hollywood for 40 years. You're
Nope.
kind of like the new kid on the block.
Right.
How important and would you say it has been to reach out and get someone like Jonathan Willis, or on Beyond the Crashing Waves, which we'll talk about in just a minute, getting somebody attached like Michael Baumgarten with a track record? And you didn't pay these guys money up front, correct? Like your directors?
Nothing, not a single penny, nothing. So I think that answer is best given with an analogy. When I first started my real estate development career, I could barely swing a hammer. I can probably barely swing one now without hurting myself. And reading blueprints has always been challenging. With that being said, I can honestly say, and on the Bible, I've built some of the finest homes in Aspen, literally. I'll stack mine against developers next to me worth hundreds and hundreds of millions who've been doing it for 20 or 30 years longer. Why? Because we had amazing GCs. Usually it was only one that was with me all the way through most of our home building. With the brand I named after my son, Chase Signature Homes, my son's name being Chase. Excellent production personnel under them. And even our vendor relationships, the guy that did the flooring and the mason, they were just exceptional people. The guy who brought in all the doors, Balls Aragoni from Vail, and I can keep going. So that's why we were able to build exceptional quality on time, on budget, every single time. It was the ability to assemble an executable team that knows what they're doing. That's really the secret to success if you're going to develop homes. Because if you over budget, you're not on time, you're toast, right? Then everything escalates from there, and then it's just a matter of break even in some cases. So that is your analogy with the film industry. We had exceptional talent on the production side. And I think that as those stones were turned over and as they sequentially came together, inner circle friends who trust me personally saw the evidence of this is now overwhelming. We're going to make movies. This is just the first of many, many movies because of our business model. And as I like to say, the illusion became reality. Checks started to hit, and everybody loves momentum. The hardest thing is inertia, right? When you have nothing.
Yeah, the first investor is always the toughest.
Always the toughest. And everybody loves to be a part of a party going forward. Same thing in a restaurant. Think about it. Do you like going in with your girlfriend or wife on a Saturday night into a restaurant that's completely empty and you're the first one there?
Hell no.
I personally hate that. I would walk out. I'm not gonna sit there with
Yeah.
my no, it's not what I want. I want action, I want excitement, I want to hear some noise, music. And so inertia in the same way here is very challenging because we all start at that point, right? We don't have anything until somebody is first.
Yeah.
And
So
once you
so
break that,
a solid foundation. And I I I might sound like a broken record, but I say this all the time. If you're missing one key component, like if you want to direct your first feature, $1 million feature, but you've only done one short before, maybe you go do a $200,000 film, you come back for your $1 million film. Or this is what I say, what you did. You got directors with serious street credibility, serious resumes, and you didn't have to pay them anything. Now, they don't do any work. You just get them attached. It's not like talent where you got to pay them, because everyone wants to direct $1 million film,
right?
right? And you're gonna have more luck raising the money if you're missing one of these two components, getting somebody attached.
Yeah, that's correct. We were in the unique position, Scott, if you recall, of having money without a script. Usually it's the other way around, right? In Hollywood, usually here's script, where's money? We had the unique, I'm going to say, pretty unique scenario where here's money, where's script? Remember?
You did have the killer one sheet. So you had kind of the log line, the synopsis.
Yep.
You knew where you wanted to go with that. So let's speaking of not a finished script, which is almost finished. Let's fast forward to Beyond the Crashing Waves. That was under $1 million.
Yep.
Same thing. I recommended Michael Baumgarten. You said, hey, if you think that'll help us raise money and build a team around him, let's do it. That did you go back to some of your same people, or was that just you taking the business plan and working the phone again, sharing something really exciting? Tell us how that came about.
So that was a little bit of both. We went to the immediate people that funded, for the most part, One Night in Bath. And we said, look, this is a faith-based, completely separate kind of a surfer movie. It's got a good message. It goes to a separate niche. It's in America. We're filming now instead of the UK. And it resonated, and we were on a roll, right? We were saying, look, guys, let's put another one in the game. Momentum is important. We're building a studio, a brand. We're not about one-offs. And so everyone recognized that the speed to execution was important. The timing, the window we provided for funding on their side was limited, very perishable. We made that clear. The money showed up almost immediately, escrowed it, documents signed, contracts signed, and here we are.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I guess that will start shooting December. So if any actors are out there, and you want to, if you're a SAG actor in Georgia or Florida, what's the best way people can, get in touch with you, Jeff?
Yeah, so the best way as of now, because we've just been going so fast, there's so much else going on that we'll get into a little. Just send your information to my email at jeff@stardomglobal.com. That's one word, STARDOM, and the word global, at jeff@stardomglobal.com, and say, I'm interested in X, working behind the scenes on your movie, or being an actor, actress, or whatever it is. And then via the Stardom model, someone from my team will absolutely get back to you. And if you've got the talent, it's 100% subjective. We want to talk to you. We want to bring you in. And if not that one, if you miss it, because once again, there'll be a perishable window, no problem. There's another one right behind that. And then there's two more right behind that.
I really wanted to spend a little bit of time going over this. Awesome. Like, this is going to be an epic movie, and how you came up with the idea and the funding for Were Shark.
So I can't say I came up with the idea. We bought the IP from a close associate of our partner in the UK. And we recognized that there's something special here because shark horror movies have done such exceptional numbers. And with the recent success of Meg 2, that actually beat out in box office. I find this hard to believe. I had to check it out myself. Both Mission Impossible and Barbie in China only. And
Wow.
yeah, and true, it was partly filmed in China, so there's an element of that. But think about it, the P&A budgets of both of those movies was greater than the entire budget of Meg 2. And here you've got this shark movie with Jason Statham beating out these mega worldwide blockbuster hits that have done over $1 billion each. Incredible. So the combination of the success of that, the success of Sharknado, the franchise that is now brought in to the tune of $4.5 billion, Scott, billion. We know we've got something special in the shark horror genre.
Yeah, I mean, just the Sharknado thing just absolutely exploded. And those were all low budgets, you know, under $1 million as well.
Yeah, it's incredible. The appetite, no pun intended, of people who love that kind of a movie. I have done a very unscientific focus group study. Everywhere I go, I'm on planes, I'm in hotels like you, I'm at a favorite place that I go to get my coffee and these veggie crepes and whatnot. I ask everybody, and I literally have only heard one person say, "Oh my God, that's awesome! I love that idea. I would definitely watch that movie." And they hate shark movies. That's it. So I probably asked 55, 60 people legit, and not just received a nice, yeah, but it's an enthusiastic, I can't wait. When is it out?
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to dive into a little bit deeper, because I don't want people watching or listening as, oh, this is so easy. Jeff knows a bunch of rich people. He just calls them up. Um, I want to kind of dive into kind of how you, because I've been on some of the three-way calls, the final calls when they just have some legitimate questions.
Sure.
And you do a real good job on balancing the excitement. Obviously, you're passionate about each one of these different projects, but you do a great job of mixing that excitement and the risk. And you have a great saying I picked up a few times. You say, hey, there is a risk, you know, but it's going to be some dollar amount above zero. Elaborate how you kind of do that dance between your passion, right? Because there are risks in any independent films.
There are.
With, you know, how do you do that delicate balance? Because you do such a great job. And I've been on a lot of these phone calls or Zooms.
Yeah, well, thank you, Scott. Well, I just want to be sold and sell the way I want to be sold. And I think that's what it boils down to. It's my personality. So just be honest with me, be candid. Tell me the way it is. I'm a big boy. If I've got the discretionary dollars and I like you and I like the deal, I'm probably in. So I oversell the risk. That's me. And I say to somebody, look, in this particular case, because we may be filming the three Were Shark movies sequentially back to back in Oklahoma, where we may, it looks like we will, qualify for as much as a 35% tax rebate. And again, I'm underlining the word may. It looks likely, highly probable. That's pretty cool if that happens. That means now that 65 cents on the dollar is actually at risk. My pitch to an investor would be, whatever you're putting up, whatever that tax rebate money is, quote, to your point, something more than zero, whatever it is, somewhere between 1% and 35% or so of our money, whatever that rebate check was, the rest of this money is absolutely undeniably at risk, no matter how much we drink our own Kool-Aid. We're totally sold on ourselves, as we should be.
Absolutely.
And you should hopefully be sold on us, as you should be, or you shouldn't even think about coming on board. But recognize the risk, right? You put up 100 grand. We get tax rebate, hypothetically, of 30%. That means we'll give you a check for 30,000 back because we got it back. We spread the wealth. We're honorable guys. Here you go. We just got it back from the state of Oklahoma because Oklahoma was incentivizing us to film there, i.e. Tulsa Kings. Here you go, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones. Here's your 30,000 of your 100. Now you have 70 legit at risk. Now we have ways to mitigate that, a lot of ways. And we think we've got a lot of arrows in that arsenal to make an outstanding ROI. But at the end of the day, you're going to bed at night and you're saying, I can handle that. If I lose 70 of the 100, I'm good. Not happy, but I can handle it.
I'm going to add one more question on there. When you're talking to these potential investors, how important is marketing of the finished product, especially something like Were Shark?
Oh, it's 100% important. A lot of very sophisticated investors are going to say, "It's awesome. You can make a movie. What are you going to do with it once you've made it? How do I know anybody's going to ever see it? What's your plans for distribution? Do you have any funds to take it to Cannes or AFM or Montreal? Or, what's your game plan? Who do you know? Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to make it, and it's so awesome. Everyone's going to see it. I'm out." Unless
Yeah,
it's
yeah. We'll submit to a few film festivals and see what happens.
yeah, that's not a good answer for somebody. That might suffice, to the waiter who throws you 25 G's and he doesn't understand the business. But to a sophisticated person, they're not going to accept that. They
Yeah.
want to see a true game plan. To your point, Scott, each piece of this puzzle has either been well thought through, or we've got an expert on the team who handles that niche of that piece, if you will. And so we can answer it with expertise, not just wing it.
So you had mentioned you got a couple other kind of arrows in your quiver, like this whole plan to minimize the risk. Let's talk briefly a little bit about the Stardom model with actors, because you got a couple films coming up,
Yep.
one in December, and Were Shark, I guess, will start next March. And
Yep.
then the writers, how does that figure into the Stardom model? Because it's a brilliant concept, especially if you're an actor watching or listening, or if you're a writer and you don't have the biggest, baddest agent in Hollywood, but you just think you have talent.
So we think that the deck is stacked against, the wannabe, if you will, the guy or girl who doesn't have an agent, doesn't have the ability to fly around, doesn't have the time, but they've got talent, or they look like Tom Cruise or Julia Roberts, or act like Pacino, or pick a name you like. And how are they going to make it in Hollywood? Because to be fair, even if you do look like a young Tom Cruise or a young Brad Pitt, good for you. So do 1,000 other people. And you're competing against a vast, you and I have gone to castings as actors. And the funny thing is, you sit in that room outside about to give your pitch. And in my case, every single guy in that room is 6'2", sandy blonde hair, about 188 to 200 pounds, muscle guy. And you're looking around the room. It's weird, right? It's every
25 guys that look just like you,
just like me. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not that unique anymore. And then it boils down to chemistry and numbers and luck and all the other things. And you go to this casting and then that one, and how many castings it take, and maybe you get a role as an extra, maybe. You know how it is, Scott. We've been there in our careers. And because you're competing against so many inside the field. So the business model of Stardom narrows the competition down by definition. It makes the niche that you apply for, where you're competing against 199 others, and that's it. And you're competing for something real, a real part in a movie where you're going to get an actual role, a screen credit in that movie. Maybe it launches your entire life. I don't know. But if you believe in yourself, this is what I say to people. If you truly believe in yourself, there's absolutely no reason you wouldn't invest $99. It's a joke. It's not, the word invest isn't even the right word. 99,000 is an investment. It's a couple of dinners, or a dinner, depending on where you go. I mean, if you can't put that on the line for your career, you don't believe in your career.
So let's segue that $99.
Yep.
To any writers, same type of model. You have a limited number of slots. So why should a writer or somebody that thinks they have great writing talent submit to Stardom for one of the future contests or projects versus a regular film festival where they can get the laurels?
Well, that's a no-brainer, because in our case, we take the script and actually make the script into a movie. They get a screen credit. If they're chosen, they get $5,000. Last time I checked, you and I talked about this. What do they pay? $500, $100? I don't even know. They don't get $5,000. They don't get a screen credit. They don't get made, launch their career, own a piece of the film, change their lives. I mean,
yeah, they just get the laurels, finalist or winner of such and such film festival.
Right. And I have to be blunt on that one. I'm a candid guy. Good luck with that. If you got 25 laurels at 25 festivals, I thought the point was to write a script made into a movie. Now, maybe that's not your point. If your point is to get a laurel, then awesome. Good for you. Keep on that business model. You're doing great. If your point is to actually get a script made into a movie, if that's your whole desire, I think you and I discussed this. Most people, overwhelming numbers of those that win the contests, and let's be clear, there are sometimes 24,999 that don't win.
Yeah, on those big festivals, yes, 25,000 submissions sometimes.
Right. So forget about the 24,999 that clearly don't win. The one that won, they don't get their script made into movies.
Not always,
So,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
you still need to come up with $1 million or $5 million, whatever the budget is.
Right. So if I'm the writer, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I didn't think I had to raise money, become an investment banker, write a business plan, do pro formas, pitch my deal to. I thought I'm just being a writer here. What? No. That's just the beginning. If you're a writer, then you have to now do all of this. Well, that's not what I signed up for. I'm just a great writer. Well, there you go. That's Hollywood. That's where it's at. So we're a different animal, Scott. What we want is we want to see the people out there who have enormous talent. We know they're there. We know there's scripts out there sitting on shelves today that should be made into legit movies. For Were Shark, we're very specific. The ask has to be, because we're doing 3 movies back to back. We have our first script that's been submitted. It's being worked on now by in-house people, a couple of outside people. For that, we'll take certain scenes from outside writers to see how good they are that we'll inject into our movie. We'll take lines. You and I talked about this. We think great movies have great lines. You know me, I've used this example with you. One of my favorite, Family Man with Nicolas Cage. And
Go ahead, make my day.
Well, that's one of the most famous of all time, of course. Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. But Family Man is when, he's about to cheat on his wife. And his buddy who was in the series Entourage says to him, you don't understand. The Fidelity Bank and Trust is a tough customer. If you make a deposit somewhere else, they close your account forever. I thought it was a great line. And so I want our writers, if you're listening out there, you'll submit for Were Shark lines, scenes. We'll give you the directions thereof. If we accept either one, you'll be paid X. We'll all be put in an email and an agreement for you. And you'll be part of our team and welcomed to write an actual script that you would get first look at. And then, of course, if we accept that, you'll get $5,000 screen credit. You're on your way.
And if that line or if that scene got accepted, they would get some sort of additional writing credit as well?
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
Contributing writer credit?
No doubt, buddy. We'll put that in the screen credit. We'll invite them to the premiere. Look, they contributed to hopefully a franchise and a great movie. So we want to acknowledge them and treat them right, which are things that I've heard that Hollywood doesn't do, stand by the actors and the writers. And let's be clear, without writers, you got nothing. The greatest.
100%. I'm not a writer, but I have such respect for the writer, because a great movie always starts with a great script.
Amen. Alfred Hitchcock, right?
Yeah. So for any of these actors that want to hook up, potentially, submit an online reel for Beyond the Crashing Waves or Were Shark 1 or Part 2, maybe 3, and the writers, say that email once again?
Yeah, and we'll have landing pages built and everything else in the next 3 or 4 weeks before the year's over. We've just been so busy. I got back from England, Toronto. We're doing 2 movies now. We got so much going on. We're going to do a cartoon out of Were Shark. We're going to have comics made on Were Shark. We're doing merchandising. We hired some people who are going to be in charge of the lunch boxes and the paraphernalia and all the different ways to merchandise the quote brand and franchise. So the email is, apologize for being so long-winded, Jeff, Jeff, at stardomglobal.com.
Awesome. Jeff, thank you so much. I know you're on the phone all day long. I'm kind of like the consultant, the fly on the wall who gets to watch your success of One Night in Bath, Beyond the Crashing Waves, now Were Shark 1, Were Shark 2, Were Shark 3. Can you leave us quickly with some parting words of advice for anyone that was in your shoes 2.5 years ago, getting ready to raise money for your first movie? Because you did it 5 times.
Yeah. So what I'm going to say first is always believe in yourself. And there's going to be naysayers, and there were many. And it gets tough. When you get up every day and the money isn't there yet, and you're pursuing the dream that you believe in, and all the outside elements are telling you to quit and, quote, get a real job. Or if you've ever listened to Denzel Washington's motivational sermon, he says, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward.
I have heard that.
Yeah, if you've got something to fall back on, if you're comfortable with this other job you're doing, you're probably not going to make it. I'm sure you've heard that in Shark Tank. Mark, what was his name? Cuban, thank you. Cuban always talks about that. You have to be totally vested and believe in what you're doing, no matter how many people tell you it's not the right way to go. But if you've got that inner commitment and you've got the passion for what you're doing here, I promise you, you stay the course and the chips will fall. The wall will come crashing down. The sunshine will peek through the darkness. All of those things will happen. And if you just have to persevere, believe in yourself, and create, if you will, a different way forward, because you can't just be like everyone else. I'll say this last comment. The Rock talks about, you may be better than me, but you're never going to outwork me. What's your secret sauce, Mr. or Mrs. out there who are listening to this right now? Why are you different? Why should I invest in you? What makes you different? Maybe it is you are so passionate. You are like Rudy. Knock you down, you get back up. Knock you down, you get. All right, that's an awesome trait. Most people don't have that trait. I want to invest in that trait. So do you, Scott. We love that.
Yeah,
Most
100%.
people, after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, I'm done. That hurt too much. Rejection sucks. I'll just be a bartender. Nothing against bartenders. I was a bartender, love bartenders, but I'm not going to pursue my acting career. I'm not going to pursue my writing career. You have to stay that course, believing in yourself, and have some element of differential. If you have that, you're going to make it.
Well, Jeff, it's been an honor and a privilege to be along your side here for the last 18 months. I can't even imagine what's going to happen at Cannes this year and the next 18 months ahead.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And Cannes is in middle of May. We'll be there with maybe a 5-picture slate, unless we've already sold One Night in Bath and, Beyond the Crashing Waves by then. But we're excited about it. We'll have the franchise fully, on showcase to the world there. We plan to have a cartoon animation, footage from the first 2 Weresharks that'll be there to showcase to distributors. Back to what we discussed. What are you going to do about distributors? Cannes is the perfect platform for us. Couldn't be better. We'll be there, Scott, and you'll probably be there right with us.
Awesome. Jeff, thank you so much. And give us that email one more time to close us out.
You bet. Jeff@stardomglobal.com.
Thank you, Jeff. All the best.
All right. Thank you, man.
Thanks for listening. And remember, it's time!
There's never been a better time to make your own indie film. And if you have a dream project you're excited about and 100% committed to getting it funded, go to financeyourmovie.com and click on the green telephone button. You'll see our calendar, and if you find an open spot, grab it. You'll get a one-on-one call with me or one of my partners. It will be the best hour you've ever spent getting clarity and strategy towards financing your movie. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.